Thank you for joining me. It's lovely to be with you all once again. I just thought I'd do a short video today because I had an email from Rebecca this morning, and she was just saying to me that she's been feeling quite anxious about the way that things are changing in the world. And she said, can you give me an honest answer as to what you feel this new Earth is going to look like? And the short answer that I gave her was, that's up to you. You decide. And it just made me think maybe I'll just put out a quick video that it will be helpful, because I do get people ask me this, so that it'll be helpful that you decide. What you concentrate on is what will be in your life. So if you like years ago, do you remember, I said to everybody, stop watching the news, and so when you stop watching the news, you don't have that in your reality. So a good way to test it actually is, say you bought a new car, say you bought, I don't know, an Audi. Other cars are available, but say you bought an Audi and you'd never driven an Audi before. And you get in and you start driving it around, and you'd never noticed before how many other Audis are on the road. You could go, every third car you go by, oh, there's another Audi, there's another Audi, there's another Audi. And it's not because all of a sudden there's more Audis on the road, it's just the fact that you're noticing them. And this is the way that life works. So it's bringing into your life what you want to be in your life. So concentrating on what you want to be in your life. Money. So I'm not saying go out and spend every penny that you have and be lavish and waste money for more money to come back in. But if you spend money in a way of where you just know it's just energy, it comes in, it goes out, and concentrate on that, then you'll always have money that is flowing in. Flowing out. But if you're constantly looking up calculator, adding it up, thinking, oh, I can't spend that, you're saying I can't spend that, and that's what you're concentrating on, and that's what you're looking at. So it's on the smaller details of life, you decide what life is going to look like. So it's to be more disciplined in what you're looking at. It's observing the negative patterns that have come into your life. So being creating the life that you want it to be, to see, does take a degree of self-discipline. So, i.e., stop watching the news, stop scrolling through social media, because that's all so easy. Since I stopped going, I'm still on Facebook, but I don't go on scrolling through anymore. I stopped that a while back, and it's very freeing actually, because you don't realize how much negativity you're taking in just by being on there, even if you're not reading it all. As you're scrolling past, you just think, oh gosh, something else negative. You don't want to stop to read it, but it's still there and you still see it. So I turned off all notifications. So it's to be changing the things at the smaller detail, the things that you don't want to acknowledge are there. I don't mean bury your head in the sand. I don't mean just ignore the fact that actually there are wars going on, ignore the fact that there's suffering going on, but it's to look at it. It's not to go into going, oh, that's terrible, and take on the suffering, because all you're doing is adding to the suffering. If you acknowledge and you send, wow, okay, gosh, that's a lot that they've chosen in this lifetime, that's suffering. But to send little thoughts out, whichever way you do it. I always ask the angels, please send this healing love and light, but it's not to join people in that suffering. So it's every detail of your life, all the small things that you're concentrating on are the things that are there in your life. And actually, social media, I'm not on lots of social media, but Facebook is the one that I sort of know how it works. If you look at that, and what do they call it, your timeline, if you look at what comes up on your timeline, that will be a reflection of the things that I think they're algorithms, they call it. So the algorithms are looking at what you stop at what you might read, what nearly pulls you in. So your timeline would be a reflection of what life you're creating for yourself. So by looking at the negative things, and we can't help it. We've been brought up in we've been brought up with so much negativity around, that it will always be, God, have you heard that's happened, or you heard this? And you just can't help it. It's like a human habit. So breaking that habit of looking at something negative, it's really hard work. So affirm. So when you catch yourself knowing that actually that's a bit of a negative thought pattern for you, affirm the opposite to that negative thought pattern. Catch yourself when you're doing it and change that. Say to yourself, oh, I don't think like that. I don't think that way anymore. I always used to be afraid of the dark. I was always afraid of the dark, and I would think, so I tested myself and I just said, right, I'm not going to put the light on. I know exactly how many steps it is from there and there, and I know what's there, and I would just test myself to think, okay, I can go up there in the dark. It's taking control of the things that scare you, and it's taking control of looking at the things that that are negative and bringing your vibration down. Okay, so going out in nature is going to be much, much better for you than scrolling through social media or watching the news or reading a newspaper. Being aware of if you're catching up with a friend and they start to talk about something that you think, oh, I'm not comfortable talking about that. It's to have the courage to say, can we change the subject, please? Because that's quite negative, and I don't want to be thinking negatively. So it's every moment, just be aware of the thoughts that you're putting out, the words that you're uttering. Now, words are so powerful, so powerful. So be aware of the words that you're uttering, because your words are what are creating your life. It's just changing the way that you're looking at life as to what you're bringing into your life. Okay, so what you concentrate on, what you talk about, is what you will get more of. So if you catch up with a friend and they're always on about I don't know, if they are always watching the news and say they're on about the American president, I know lots of people sort of talked about, I don't know, I don't follow the news, I couldn't tell you anything that's going on, so I just stop it like that because I don't want to go into it. But if you've got a friend that's following it, and they're sort of going into the fear of where's it going, what are they going to do, etc., feel brave enough to say, I don't want to talk about that. Let's talk about something else, and change the subject to something positive. So be aware of the life that you're creating through your words, and even in day-to-day small life, it's small things. If you're meeting up with someone and you know that they're quite that there's always one thing that they complain about. So say you're meeting up with a friend and all he does is moan about his wife being, oh, she's said this and she's done that. If you visualize meeting up with him and thinking, okay, right, I'm going to start off the conversation and I'm going to talk about different things and change the subject every time he goes to moan about her, eventually he'll get the message and he'll stop talking about it. So you'll stop attracting that when you're connecting up with him. And it really is as simple as that life, your life, and the way that we are in the world will be how you want it to be, by the words you utter, by what you're concentrating on, what you're watching, what thoughts you're putting out, how much love you're putting out, how much love you're receiving in. Okay, so the short answer to Rebecca's question, what is this new world going to look like, is you decide. Okay, thank you for listening. Love and light.